Does it sometimes feel like your thoughts cannot shut down and you can't stop influencing your day? Here's my 7 best ways to silence your mind. So one of the first ways that's quite unusual that I would use to silence my mind is to look at the air in between objects. So it sounds a bit weird, but let's just say that cat. I would look at the air in between. So you're looking around this region. Your focus should be around where my hand is right now. And by doing that, it takes you, for me, it just silences everything in my mind, because that is the one thing I'm focused on. It's as if I'm focusing on nothing. Now, I don't know why it works, but it works. So pause the video, try it right now, look at an object, and then look at halfway in between that object, and keep your focus there, and see what happens to the thoughts in your mind, and see if it silences your mind. In this technique, you're purposely trying to look at nothing. So, number 2 of the 7 unusual ways to silence your mind is to look at your hands. This technique works for me because it just reminds me that I'm real. Everything that's going in my head is in my head, and not something that is tangible. It is a thought. It is just ramblings going round and round and round. But when I look at myself, my hand in particular, or hands, it is something that just refocuses me, and it's able to bring me back into the physical moment that I'm in right now. So it's a bit hard to explain without doing it for yourself. So matter of fact, pause this video again, look at your hands, just take a minute, observe yourself. So number 3 on my list of the 7 unusual ways to silence your mind is to write down the tasks that you need to get done for that day, or that week, or that month, or that year, whatever it is. But mainly for the day, because these are the things that will rattle around constantly in your head. So whether it's the cleaning, whether it's the washing up, whether it's writing part of that book you need to do, or doing that YouTube video, or writing that blog post, or putting away the clothes, or the shopping, or going shopping, or writing down the grocery list, and all these different things. It could be anything. Once you write it down, there's a process that happens. I don't know what it is, but your mind begins to clear immediately, because when you don't have it written down, you're storing it all up in your head. And that's just a recipe for 1, forgetting something, or 2, just continuously thinking about it all day long. Whereas if you write it down and you go through that list, ticking things off one by one, you don't have to think about it anymore, you just refer to the list. So it takes your thoughts away from your mind and into a physical piece of paper that you can just refer to when you've done one thing that you can tick off and carry on to the next thing. So if you haven't done that, you don't need to pause the video for that bit. Write something down, write the things you're thinking about down, and systematically work through them to clear your mind that way. So number 4 on my list of the 7 unusual ways to silence your mind is to do something physical, but that is non-repetitive. So this just means moving your body in non-repetitive ways. So the best example I have in my mind, that's something that I like doing, is climbing, whether it's rock climbing. If you don't have a rock climbing place near you, a tree or a wall. Or if you don't like doing that, maybe free running. Or if you don't like doing that, dancing, skateboarding, or mountain biking. Something where the actions aren't repetitive. Now this just works for me because if I'm running or sitting on a bike, like the exercise bike, and I'm just going round and round and round, there's not enough focus that is required. It can happen quite passively as I just sit there, or as I just go through the motions. Whereas you don't want to go through the motion. You want your focus to be where your hand should go, or where your arm should go, or where your leg should be positioned. It shouldn't be something that is so repetitive, because once you start doing things that are repetitive, you don't have to think about it anymore. Your brain will then start rambling again. So this is more of a action-based way to silence your mind, but it nonetheless silences your mind. So there's so many different things you can try. Do things that are in line with your hobbies. Do it alone, or you can do it with people. But if this is about silencing your mind, making you more present in the moment, then maybe doing it by yourself is the better way to go. But the entire strategy around that one is to do something that requires your entire focus and attention to get that done. The 5th thing on the 7 unusual ways to silence your mind is actively listen for silence. Now, this is a weird one because we don't usually do this. We usually hear everything, or we kind of don't even think that there is silence, but there is. And once you switch your focus from just sitting there or thinking about thoughts to actively hearing silence, your brain will go crazy silent. At least mine does anyway, and it works for me. So pause this video, try that right now. Stop everything, listen for silence, and I'll see you in a minute. So this technique works best if you're somewhere quiet already, like your house or a park or somewhere quiet. It can work in louder places, but you have to just focus even more. So maybe practice it in different areas too. Right, so the sixth technique on the 7 unusual ways to silence your mind is to actively listen for sounds, every and any sounds. So you can do this eyes opened or eyes closed, but I got this technique from my cat. Maybe she is. There. But just looking at my cat, if I were to look at her, something would happen that I couldn't even hear because I was on my phone or watching TV or doing something. Whereas her attention is so on the sounds she can hear, even if she can't see them. She just darts her head to wherever a sound is coming from, and I am none the wiser, but she is bang on it. So it's something that you can do. It's weird. Even if you're sitting in a silent house and you don't think you're hearing anything, you'll be surprised. Like, you're actively listening for the sound. So you might hear the boiler switch on, or you might hear water running through the pipes, or you might hear your partner, putting a glass on the table upstairs or whatever it is. It could be anything. It could be birds chirping outside. It could be the ice cream van I can hear just a second ago outside. So actively listening for every and any sound is an amazing technique, especially in a quiet place. You can do this eyes open or eyes closed. So pause the video again, try that for a minute, and I'll see you in a second. Right, so the last technique, the 7th technique out of the 7 unusual ways to silence your mind is to focus on your heartbeat. Now, I don't mean to put your fingers on your pulse, around your body or anything like that, just to mentally focus on your heart beating. And it doesn't have to be in a specific place, just where you can feel it most prominently in that moment. So as I'm recording this, I feel it right here. I know earlier I felt it in my bicep and then in my wrist, but just track your heartbeat in every single moment when you're trying to silence your mind. It is an amazing technique that works for me to completely stop all thoughts, brings every thought to a halt, and my attention goes to my heart beating. So that's another powerful technique that will immediately silence your mind, guaranteed. So pause the video, try that out now as well. So there you have it, guys and girls. That's my 7 techniques, 7 unusual ways to silence your mind. And if you like this video, I'm going to put a link right here how you can check out another video where I go over how to stop wasting time in just 6 steps. And it really does work. So click the link over here and I'll see you over there.